Hi, grade nines. We're just waiting for a few more people to join. It isn't quite at 5 o'clock yet, so we're just going to give them a couple of minutes. And while we do that, there are 3 questions up on the board for you to try while we wait. So give them your best shot, and then we'll go through them together in a couple of minutes. Welcome to those of you who've just joined. You know the drill by now. Give these questions a try while we wait for everyone to join. Yay, so many familiar names. Good. I love it when you guys come back. While you're working through these 3 questions, see if there's any one of them that you're feeling really confident with and feel like you can talk us through as a group. If there's one that you're really enjoying, you can send me a message in the comments and tell me that you would like to do that question. Okay, those of you who've just joined, give these 3 questions a try. I'm going to give you a few minutes to give them a go. I know that some of them are quite tricky. I might do question 1 in about a minute's time and then give you a little bit more time to do question 2 and 3. Okay, let's have a look. I'm not going to do all 3 of them just yet, so don't panic. We're just going to look at the first one so long. Has anyone who's done the first one, do you feel okay with it? Do you feel like you could maybe talk us through the process of what to do? Lots of quietness today. It's okay. I know it's after school. It's a Monday. We're also recovering from the weekend. I get it. I'm going to help you out with question 1, but I would love for someone to do question 2 and 3. So sort of we'll talk through question 1 together, and then I want you to kind of think about 2 and 3 while we're doing question 1. I'm just going to turn my video off so I can turn my screen, but you know I'm here, so just ask questions whenever you need help. Okay, so let's have a look at question 1. We're going to do the steps that we learned about last week, Wednesday. The first step is we want to find a common denominator. So I'm going to put that over 1, and I'm going to put that over 1. And so my lowest common denominator is going to be 2. So I'm going to have to multiply 2y by 2. I'm going to do nothing to my y because it's already a 2. I'm going to multiply my 3 by 2, and I'm going to do nothing to my final y. So I'm going to land up with that. They would all be over 2, which means I have a common denominator. And so I can drop my denominator, and I would have 4y plus y equals 6 minus y. Now I want to get all of my variables to one side, and I want to get my numbers to the other side. So I'm going to have 4y plus y is equal to 6. And 4 plus 1 is 6. So that's 6y is equal to 6. And then to isolate that y, We're going to divide both sides by 6, and so y is going to equal 1. Now, if you got that one correct, please can you let me know in the comments. So let's say how this one went, like from 0 to 10. So if it went really nicely, you can give me a 10, and if it went really horribly, you can give me a 0. However you felt it went. Oh, I'm changing the question as we go. Here we go. Okay. 10. Nice. Great. Yes, Princey, sorry, I didn't see that comment. It is a solve for x situation, except just in this case, it's a y. Okay, so we've got a 10, we've got a 7. Just give me those numbers in the comment section, guys. Tell me how this one went. Okay, some 5s, some 6s. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, so for the second one, I would love for whatever number you're on for it to go up by 2. So just want you to understand it a little bit better. So if we're at a 2, I'd love for our sort of level to be at about a 4 after this question. So let's have a look at question 2. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to have a look at it because I know some people only joined and you didn't really get a chance to try. So I want everyone to give question 2 a try for me. Remember the steps that we just did there. The first thing we did was we found a common denominator. So that was the first thing we did. So we found an LCD. The second thing we did was we multiplied that LCD out. The third thing we did was we simplified. And then our last step was we solved for our variable. Okay, so we just did a normal linear equation. So I want everyone to give question 2 a try for me. Okay, so let's try and start with this one. Before I have to pick on someone, do I have anyone who feels okay with question 2?
Ma'am, ma'am, I can answer it, ma'am.
Princey, I'd love it for you to answer. Tell me what to do.
So it's 5x over 3 plus 4 minus 4 equal 9 minus 4.
Okay, so 5x over 3, and then you've moved this 4 over onto that side, like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Then it's 5x over 3 times 3 equal 5 times 3.
Okay, good. So I'm just going to do that in 2 steps, but what you're saying is beautiful. Excellent.
And after that, it is 5x divided by 5, which equals to 15 divided by 5. And the final answer is x equal to 3.
Excellent. Well done. That was beautiful. Okay, so that was a perfect way of doing this. Our other option would have been to make everything have a denominator of 3 and simplifying from there, but this is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful way to do it. Okay, I'm going to give you just another minute and a bit, or maybe 2 minutes to just finish off question 3, and then we're going to move on to our work for today. Okay, let's give question 3 a try. Who feels like they can talk me through question 3? And remember, it doesn't matter if you're not getting it 100% right. We can do it step by step. So anyone who feels like they can try. How about one of, oh, do I have someone who just, no, how about one of our 5s? So who is sitting somewhere in the middle? Tando. Tando, can you hear me? How about, no? I feel like this is one of those situations where you're just not unmuting yourself to sneak away from my picking, but it's fine. I will be nice. I will then have to pick on who's the very top of my list. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Adaora, you are right at the top of my list. Do you think you can help me up with the first step of what to do here? Yeah, give it a try. Doesn't matter if you're wrong. And remember, you can ask questions as you go. Okay, we're just gonna work through this step by step. So don't panic. I promise I will never throw you in the deep end. Okay, I'm gonna put this 2 over a 1. Can you tell me what my lowest common denominator would be?
-1.
Okay, so let's have a look at these numbers. What number can 2 and 5 both go into? So like, if we look at the multiples of 5, we've got 5, 10, 15, 20. What's the first number there that 2 can also go into?
I think it's 10, ma'am.
It is 10. Okay, thank you for helping there. Nice. Okay, so it's 10. Okay, so we know that our LCD here is going to be 10. All right. So in that case, that means I'm going to have to multiply this by 5, and I'm going to have to multiply that by 3, and I'm going to have to multiply that by 10. Okay, so that's our first step.
Ma'am, it's 5 times 2.
Oh, I'm just losing my mind here, guys. Absolutely, it is 5 times 2. Otherwise, it would be 15. Thank you for that. Okay, so from here, we know what we're multiplying everything by. So that means at this bracket, I'm going to multiply it by a 5. My second bracket, I'm going to multiply it by a 2. And my last one, I'm going to multiply by a 10. Okay, so that's our next step. Okay, so Adaora, where would I go to from here? Like, what happens when I want to multiply those in? Can you tell me what would happen there? It's okay.
Ma'am, turn into
Yile, are you just trying to save Adaora from my questions? I feel like you may have a little superhero Adaora, but can you just this one, can you let me know what 5 times x would be?
I think,
5
ma'am,
times
it's
x is
15x.
Okay, so this 5 times x would be 5x, and then this 5 times 3 would be 15. Good, nice job, guys. Okay, then we have -2 times 2x, which is -4x, -2 times -1, which is +2, and 10 times 2, which is 20. Okay, cool. I'm now going to simplify my left side a little bit. So 5x minus 4x is going to give me 1x. I don't need to write that 1. And that's equal to 20. Then I'm going to move that 15 over, so minus 15. And I'm going to move my 2 over, so minus 2. And so I land up with x is equal to 5 minus 2, which is 3. And that is my final answer. Okay, I know that this question was quite a tough one. This is another one that I just want to get an idea of how you're feeling with fractions at the moment. So can you just, and you know my feelings are never hurt. If you really, really struggling with this, write a 0. I just want to know where you're at. So can you just let me know from 0 to 10 how you're feeling with question 3? 10 is obviously great, 1 is terrible. Sort of just figure out where are you sitting at the moment. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys. So a lot sitting in the middle. That's okay. The fraction equations are tough, guys. They're really hard. Remember that there are exercises on these on the app, and there's a try it where there are 3 questions that you can work through, and then it's actually me talking you through them. So it's a voice that you know, and we kind of go through how the answer would look. So you pause the video and you work through it. So if you're struggling with these, I really recommend you go onto the app and give those try-its a try. Okay. Okay, but now we're going to move on to what we were going to be doing today, which is called basic quadratic equations. And so for those of you who were with me in our last set of lessons, when we're dealing with quadratic equations, it means that there's always going to be an x squared. Okay, and whenever we have an x squared, we're going to factorize. Okay, so those of you who were with me in our last session, we did a lot of factorization. In this lesson today, we're just going to do basic factorization. And in our next lesson, we're going to look at the ones that are a bit more complicated. But the most important thing with quadratic equations is this concept over here. Okay, so I'm going to ask you different questions. They're going to be nice and easy. So Apiwe, can you please tell me what 5 times 0 is? I heard the whisper.
0.
The whisper was correct. It is absolutely 0. Nice.
0.
Okay. What if I had, who else can I ask here? Anyone can answer. I'm going to just ask a question. You can just unmute and you can answer. Okay. If I had -2 times 0, what's my answer going to be?
0.
0.
Beautiful. 0, 0, 0. Excellent. If I have 0 times y, what's my answer going to be?
0.
0. If I'm going to have 0 times x minus 2, what's my answer going to be?
0.
0.
Yes, it's going to be 0. Okay. And the whole idea, yes, the whole idea behind quadratic equations is this idea. So if I have a times b equals 0, then that means either a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. One of them has to be equal to 0, or both of them are equal to 0, but one of them has to be equal to 0. And that's the whole thing that we rely on when we do quadratic equations. And so the most important thing I need you to take from this is that it has to be equal to 0 on the right-hand side. Okay, so let's have a look at this first one. Now, this first one has already been factorized for you. So I was trying to make your life a little bit easier while we learn this. Because it's already been factorized, we've got something, and that's equal to 0. Now, equal to 0 is what we want when we're dealing with a quadratic equation. Does anyone feel like they can tell me I'm going to have 2 answers? Whenever we have an x squared, we're going to have 2 answers for our equation. Can anyone tell me what one of my answers would be? Think of this to help you.
I think it's going to be 0.
It is! Yes, well done. One of my answers is 0. If this x over here was 0, the way that 0 is over there, it would be equal to 0. So my one option is, well, x could be 0. But then I've also got this bracket over here, which could be 0. So we're going to say, or x plus 3 is equal to 0. And that is just a nice normal linear equation. We move that 3 onto the other side. And so x would be equal to -3. And if you think about it, that makes sense, because if this was -3 plus 3 is 0. And so that bracket would be 0. So basically, when we do a quadratic equation, we're saying either the one thing is 0 or the other thing is 0. And we land up getting 2 different answers. Okay. Let's give B a try. So I want you to use the logic we've used in A. This one is a little bit different because obviously I'm trying to stretch you slowly as we go. But I would like for you to all give B a try. And when you feel like you have the answer, just unmute yourself and start talking to me.
Ma'am, I think I know the answer, ma'am.
Okay, Princey, tell me
Number
what
2.
to do.
Ma'am, I mean that equals it says so it is x minus 5 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0.
Good. And so then what would be my
And
last step?
below it is x it is x equal -5 and x equal 2.
What happens when that -5 jumps over the equal sign?
It becomes a normal 5.
Good, there we go. So my first answer is x is equal to 5. And what would my second one be?
Second one would be -2.
Excellent, well done. Okay, does everyone see what Princey did? He took the first bracket and he said, well, what happens when that's equal to 0? Well, x would have to be 5. And then we look at the second bracket and we make that equal to 0. And for that to be 0, x would have to be -2. Okay. All right. Whew. It looks scary, but it's not scary. This is now not a quadratic. This is actually called a cubic equation, like this. And it's because that if I was to multiply it out, I would get 3 values. I would have an x cubed. And so I would have, running 3 cubed, 3 values for x. But you're going to do it in exactly the same way you did B.
So, ma'am, I think it's going to be x minus 5 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0.
Good.
Therefore x equal 5,
Mm-hmm.
then x equal -2, then x equal 1.
Excellent. Well done. Okay, can I just get an idea of how you guys are feeling with these so far? Just put in the chat where you're at. 10 is I'm feeling great. 0 is meaning I feel absolutely horrible. I don't know what's going on. It's like you're talking Mandarin to me. Oh, good. Hundreds. Excellent. I love 100. Okay. Oh, 1,000,000. Excellent. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Okay. Now we're going to look at D. Actually, I'm going to let you do D and E at the same time. So I want you to all give these a try. And the ones who said we're at like 1,000,000 or 1,000 or 100, I would love it for you to answer. So when you feel ready, then you can give me your answer for D. Dr. Bongo, are you ready?
Could you please go a little bit up? I wasn't done waiting.
Oh, sure. Sorry, sweetheart.
No,
There
ma'am.
you go.
I was asking if you could.
Is it high enough? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm just going to scroll a little bit just so that you can see D and E at the same time for those of you who are there. Now remember, in D, I did try and trick you. Just keep that in mind. Canva, that's a really good start. Okay, so I'm going to follow on from what Canva has actually written in the comment section over there, and he's taken this whole bit over here. So he said, well, I have 3x minus 1, and that needs to be equal to 0. That's a really good start. Canva, can you finish that thought? What would be the second thing that would be equal to 0?
It would be x minus 2 equals 0.
Good. Okay, I'm going to keep it out of its brackets, but you could have it in its brackets. Well done, Canva. Okay, so now here, the first thing that I have to deal with is I've got this 3 just chilling here. So if I wanted to get rid of that 3, I would need to divide both sides by 3. And what is 0 divided by 3, Canva?
Is 0.
It's 0. Good. So I'll have x minus 1 is equal to 0. So therefore, what does x equal?
Equals to 1.
Good. And on this side, what would x equal over here?
2.
It is equal to 2.
Nice job, guys. Woo! Yay! Well done, Adora. That was excellent. Okay, so we know x would be 1 or x would be 2. Okay, let's have a look at E. What does this little, let me use a darker color. Sorry, what does this little 2 over here mean?
Square.
Good.
It's
It means
squared or to
squared.
the power of 2, man.
Excellent. Thank you, Avile. So that means x minus 2 equals 0. I'm just writing it out twice because it's squared. Okay, I'm ready. What are my answers here? Guys, I know you know the answers. You've been getting all the others right.
I think, ma'am, it's x is equals to 2, and the next x is also equals to 2.
Excellent. So that was beautiful. I'm going to put the one step in over here. So x minus 2 is 0, or x minus 2 is 0. So therefore, x is equal to 2. So in this case, my answer for x is exactly the same. But again, I still have my 2 answers because it's quadratic. Okay, great. Now in F, they haven't factorized it for you. We first have to factorize. And so we're going to have to try and dig into our brains and remember the steps of factorizing. The first thing we look for is a highest common factor. So what number and what letter can go into both of these terms? And we take it out and we put it in brackets. Okay, so I'm going to do this one for you, and then I'm going to let you guys do the next one. Now, if I look at this question, I can see that of my numbers, I have 2 in both of them. So I know I can take 2 out as my highest common factor. Then I look at my x's, and I have an x squared and I have an x. And my smallest one there is an x, and so that's all I can take out. Then I open my brackets. Now, whatever goes here, when I multiply these 2 together, I need to get 2x squared. And so this has to be an x, so that when I multiply them together, I get my 2x squared. And then when I multiply this, I need to get positive 2x, which means I have to have plus 1. Okay, because 2x times 1 gives me 2x. So this is, I know that you're like, we haven't done this in like a month and a bit. We haven't, you're right. But we have to try and bring back those memories of factorization. That's why we spend so long on factorization. It's so important. It's going to be with you forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, so the first step was we took out our highest common factor. Oh, up here. Okay, got you. All right. I'm going to slow down for a second. I'm going to write another thing over here. Okay, so I'm going to say if I have 2x plus x, just that. I'm not going to make it an equation. Okay, can someone help me and tell me what my highest common factor would be in that situation? So what can go into both terms? I think someone answered. Thank you, Canva. X. Okay. In this situation, my highest common factor would be X. And so I could take X out. There's two terms here, so I have to have two terms in my brackets. X times something needs to give me 2x. So that would have to be a 2. And then x times something has to give me x. So that would have to be a 1. Okay, so we would land up with just x times 3, which is what this is, 3x. Okay, let's try another one, and then we're going to jump back in there. Just going to try one more, and then we're going to jump back to this question, because we haven't done factorization in a long time, so don't stress if you're feeling a little bit lost. Okay, 3x squared plus 4x. Can someone tell me what my highest common factor is?
X.
X again, good, okay? And now, can someone tell me what would be inside my brackets?
3x plus 2.
2.
4.
There we go, good. Okay, 3x plus 4. And so if I was to re-multiply this out, x times 3x gives me 3x squared, and x times 4 gives me 4x. Okay, so let's have a relook at 4. I'm just going to take that all away, and we're going to restart it. I'm trying to find my highest common factor. So I'm trying to find something that can go into both of those terms. The first thing we look at is our number. And so I can see that 2 is in both of them. So I can take out 2 as the highest common factor. Then if I have an x squared and an x, I can also take out an x. Okay. Then I have to think 2x times what would give me 2x squared? 2x times x would give me 2x squared. And 2x times what would give me 2x? It would be plus 1. Okay. All right. So from there, where would I go? Now that I have factorized. This should look similar to what we've been doing already. Whoop. Okay, from here, we have this term, which could be equal to 0. So 2x could be equal to 0, or x plus 1 is equal to 0. And so if I want to find out my x value over here, I would divide those by 2. So x is 0. And here I'm going to move that 1 over. So x is negative 1. Good, Canva. Okay. We're actually not going to move on to the next one. I want you to do this question before we move on. I'm going to write it over here. We're going to call it F.2. Okay. All right. I would like you all to give that question a try. So everything is there. I want you to factorize. I want you to take out the highest common factor. I want you to figure out what those brackets would be, and then find your two values for x. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to find our highest common factor. So let's look at the numbers. We've got 5 and we've got 10. And so a number that can go into both of those is 5. Good. Well done. Excellent answers coming through in the chat. So we have 5x, which is our highest common factor, and I'd be left with x plus 2 equals 0. And remember, with factorizing, we can always check if we're right. 5x times x gives us 5x squared. 5x times 2 gives us 10x. Okay, so we can always use that to check that we're right. Now that we're there, we've got our two answers that could be equal to 0. So either 5x is equal to 0 or x plus 2 is equal to 0. Here I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So either x is 0 or x is negative 2. Those are our two answers. Okay. All right. I know that I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys. I'm aware. Okay, now for this one, I'm just going to leave a little bit of space in case anyone's still writing. This one, they haven't factorized for us, but also there's a big problem over here. Remember, our whole power with a quadratic is that it's equal to 0. So as soon as we see an x squared in the equation, we want to move everything to one side so that it's equal to 0. That's our first goal. So whenever we see an x squared in the equation, we want to move it all onto one side and we want to make it equal to 0 because that's where our power lies in a quadratic equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move that 9x over. So I'm going to have 3x squared minus 9x is equal to 0. That's my first step. Now, my second step, when I have a quadratic, is I'm going to factorize. When we factorize, the first thing we look for is a highest common factor. There are other things that we're going to look for later, but at the moment, I just want you to focus on the highest common factor. So that's our next goal. Can someone tell me what my highest common factor is in this question?
3.
I think it's
I'm here. No, it's okay. Tando, I haven't heard from you, so why don't you talk us through this one?
It's X, man.
Okay, X is definitely part of it. What would be the number that would be involved? Junior, I'm seeing it in the comments that 3, excellent. Okay, so my highest common factor here is going to be 3x. Okay, and so now inside my bracket, I'm going to be left with x because 3x times x is 3x squared. And I'm going to be left with minus 3 because 3x times negative 3 gives me negative 9x. Okay, and so that's my highest common factor. That's my bracket, and I'm going to say that that's equal to 0. Once we've done that, the last step is we make each term equal to 0. So here we would make our 3x equals to 0, and we'd make our x minus 3 equals to 0 and solve for x. Okay, so 3x equals 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. So I'm going to divide that by 3 on both sides. So either x is 0 or x is 3. Those are our two answers. Okay. All right. I think to avoid having multiple people answering, once you have figured out how to do H and you're happy with your answer, if you could just write your name in the comment section for me, and then the first name that pops up, that's the person I'm going to ask to answer. So why don't you guys all give this a try, follow the steps that we've done in G. It's very, very similar. And when you feel like you're ready to answer, just pop your name in the comment section. have no volunteers. Oh, Canva. Thank you, Canva. Oh, I was just about to get sad. Canva, talk me through what to do.
You say 2x. You say 2x to the power of 2 minus 5x equals 0.
Well done.
Then x bracket 2x minus 5 bracket equals 0.
Good.
Then the answer is x equals to 5.
Okay, so close. So that was beautiful up to this point. Now we have two things. So the first one is either this equals 0, so either x equals 0, or this equals 0. Those are our two options. And if this side equals 0, I'm going to move my 5 over. So 2x is equal to 5. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to 5 over 2. Okay, so perfect first start. Now we've just got to work on the last little bit. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at I. Now, I is a sneaky sneak. It's very similar, but it's a bit sneaky. So again, we see we have an x squared. X squared means it is quadratic. And if it is quadratic, we want everything on one side and we want to make it equal to 0. And we can see that it is equal to 0 over here. And so we're happy. Cool. Okay, everything's great. Then that means that we have to factorize. Now, if I'm looking at these terms, I definitely can't take out a highest common factor, but I can do the sneak of difference of two squares, of dots. Okay, and dots is when we have those two brackets, that x is going to become x and x, and the 9 became a +3 and a -3. I hope this is bringing back some memories to everyone. Okay, so we did difference of two squares. And then we have our first bracket, which could be equal to 0. So either x plus 3 is equal to 0, or our second bracket is equal to 0. So x minus 3 is equal to 0. And here x is 3. And in our other one, x is -3. And it's that
Yes.
easy. Yay. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you do this next one by yourselves. Have fun. Okay. Let's have a look. First of all, we have an x squared, which means we want everything onto one side. So x squared minus 16 equals 0. And I know there's some of you who are thinking, oh my goodness, Miss G, you're making my life so difficult. Why can't I just say x squared is equal to 16, and so x is equal to the square root of 16? You can, but often people leave out an answer, which is why I'm trying to stress this one. Oh, Mutlacho, great. Do you want to give us the rest of this answer? Okay. Do you want to do it over comments, or are you going to unmute?
Ma'am, I think I have an answer.
I just have Mutlacho who wants to answer, but so he's just doing it in the comments for us. But for our next question of Yile, I'd love it if you gave us the answer.
I'll try, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so you can write it in the comment, Mutlacho. Hmm. Okay, it doesn't seem to be coming through. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so close. Oh, you were so close. But you know what you did? You fell for the same trap that lots of people do. So I want you to feel not bad about that at all. So the thing is that if I have x plus 8 and then I have x minus 8, when I multiply those together, I actually get 64. I don't get 16. But it's a very, very common mistake. So instead of 8 and 8, that actually needs to be a 4 and a 4, because 4 times 4 gives me my 16. Okay, but it's a very, very normal mistake. And that's going to be equal to 0. So either x plus 4 is 0 or x minus 4 is 0, which means x is negative 4 or x is 4. Okay. Okay. Oh, and I've kind of given you an answer here for K. So Avile, this one is your one. When you're ready, you can just unmute and go. And Sia, I see your name as well. So I'm going to give Sia, I'm going to give you one of our exit questions.
Wait. Oops, sorry, man. I think I have the answer, man.
Okay, talk me through what to do.
Uh, I have the solution, not the steps, but I did I didn't do some steps, man. I skipped some steps because at school they taught us that we can skip some steps, man.
Yeah, in these ones you definitely are allowed to. So I'm not upset about skipping steps. So you can just jump and tell me the answers, and I'll put in the step before it.
Yes, ma'am. So it's open bracket x plus 8 close bracket. And then another open bracket, ma'am. X minus 8.
Good.
Then,
excellent.
And then in the first bracket, x is equal to 8.
X is negative 8 in the first one.
Negative 8. And then on the second one, x is equals to 8.
Yay, well done. Great. Perfect. Nice. Okay. All right, Sia, you're going to be doing one of my exit questions for me. And because it wasn't one that you planned, I'm going to let you choose whichever one you'd like to do. I'm not going to be too nasty. We're just going to do these 3 for the moment. Okay, we're going to see if we might have a little bit of time to do one of the fractions, but for the moment, let's do these 3. So for the extra questions, what I want you all to do is I really want you to try and focus. So I don't want anyone to try and answer, just not yet, because I want to give everyone a chance to try by themselves. And our goal here is to see if we can improve from where we started. So if you were feeling completely lost when we started this concept, if you can just get 1, I'll be so happy. If you were feeling really good, then I would love it if you got all 3. Okay, so just give it your best go. Sia is definitely going to do one of them for us, and then 2 other volunteers would be great. But I'm just going to give you some time to do these. So don't unmute and start giving the answer, and don't write your answer in the comments just yet. I'll tell you when we can answer. Let's just give everyone a chance to try. Avoyile, do you mind muting yourself? Thank you. Okay, we're just going to look at question 1 first. So, Sia, do you feel comfortable talking through question 1?
Ma'am, I'm still doing it, ma'am.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to rush you. You take your time. Whenever you're ready, you start talking us through it, okay? Okay. I'm only going to start just so that we don't run out of time. See, if you're not ready, you don't need to feel stressed. If you are ready, you can talk me through one. But if you're not, then please don't panic.
Ma'am, ma'am, I think I'm ready.
Which one would you like to do, Sia?
1, ma'am.
Okay, talk me through 1. What can I do?
So ma'am, for number 1, the first step it's 4x squared
Mm-hmm.
minus 3x equals 0.
Excellent. Good. What would be my next step?
Then ma'am, it's gonna be 4x bracket.
Oh, so close. You know why I can't do that though? Because the 4 can't go into the 3. So the only thing I can take out as my highest common factor here is an x.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
But does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but well done. That was really good though. And so then our final answer here is we're going to have x is equal to 0 or 4x minus. Oh, my battery is about to die. Oh, I got it just in time. So let's just quickly finish off this question. I'm so sorry about that one more time. So the first thing here is that was all really good. And then we have to look at the 4x minus 3, which is equal to 0. And so that's going to be 4x, which would be 3. And so then x would be 3 over 4. And then I think I saw Juliet's name in the comment section before my little laptop situation. So Juliet, are you wanting to answer one of the questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. Which one would you like to do, Juliet?
Number 2.
Okay, number 2. Tell me what to do.
So in number 2, I found the highest common factor, which was 2x.
Okay, so the thing is, you did a very similar thing over here. You know how we almost took out a 4x over there, but we couldn't because of that 3. It's the same situation. We can't take out a 2 because 2 can't go into the 5. So our only highest common factor here is an x. So I'll have x, 2x plus 5 equals 0. Because when I re-multiply that in, I'm going to get 2x squared. And when I multiply that, I'm going to get 5x.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Do you think you could finish this off for me, though? What would be my two answers for x? You don't know. That's okay. So our first one here would be x is equal to 0. And our second one would be 2x plus 5 is equal to 0, which would be 2x is equal to -5. And so x would be -5 over 2. Okay. I'm going to quickly go through the last one with you guys just because we've run out of time. And so our last one, we're dealing with a difference of squares situation. So I have x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. And I would have x plus 1, x minus 1 equals 0, which means x is -1 or x is 1. And we have done a lot of questions today. You have done really good work. Well done for that answer in the comments. It's absolutely right. Sorry for my 2-minute departure there right at the end. It was not great, but well done for everyone who answered. Well done for everyone who gave it their best effort and tried. I'm so proud of you. And that's where we are going to call it a day. Now, because this is the end of lesson 3, there's actually a quiz for you guys to do, which will have questions up till this point. It's multiple choice, and you can find that all on the Watobi app. So I'm going to pass on to Tula now.
Hey everyone, my name is Tula. I am a mentor with Watobi. I've actually just added like a bracket and mentor next to my name just so I don't have to keep introducing myself so the new faces can see when I message you guys privately. Before I just quickly share my screen, as usual, I just want to, I messaged you guys, but I don't think you saw my message. So can Sia just quickly send me just quickly on the chat, write your full name because we're trying to just find you in the attendance register. So we kind of need your name. And then someone else is signed in as Huawei Y6. I think I sent you a message. So if you could just kindly just write your name on the chat so it's easier for us to take you off as a person who attended. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Just 1 second. As usual, of course, let me know if you can't. You let me know if you can't see. By now, you should be able to see my screen. Yes. So we are on our 3rd lesson. We just finished our 3rd lesson, and it's the 2nd of August. So which means we really are powering through. We're basically halfway through. We're basically halfway through with the equations, and we just left with lessons 4, 5, and 6, which is awesome. So we left with quadratic equations, exponential equations, and mixed equations. And I'll give you guys, I guess, at the end of these slides, just to show you what you need to do to prepare for the next lessons. And but for now, as I promised you guys last week, the leaderboard. So let's just clap hands or celebrate. You can celebrate silently. I don't know how, for all these, I guess, wonderful people who did exceptionally this week. Lulama, Neo, Avuyile, Princey, Adora, Palesa, Tinashe. So thank you guys for just doing activities. And as I always remind you, this is not about who I guess is the most excellent in maths or someone who understands more than everybody. It's more about the people who tried. So the people who did the most activities. That's really what we reward. We reward people who are trying and they just doing their best. So make sure you do your best. Usually our numbers are much higher, so that's what I want to see next time, like next week, if it could just be a lot of activity, because it shows that you're practicing everything that you're learning. You're going back to the app and practicing and just doing your best. So congrats to these guys, and I hope I see you appear here all the time. I want to keep seeing people tying and just, yeah, so that would be awesome. And yeah, as always, just to show you guys on the app, just to do and to practice more of the stuff that we're learning, go to the Watobi app, pick a topic, go to algebraic equations, and then after that, go to, so under quadratic equations, you'll find the basic quadratic equation with squares using factorization, and just make sure you do the activities and you do the lessons and you just do your best, you know. And it's also going to be good for testing, for you just testing yourself, to see if you understand everything that you've been taught. So yeah, I think thank you guys who've written your names. Thank you, Siamtanda and Bokamuso. So I think right now, if Jennifer, you don't have anything more to add, I think we are done. Thank you guys so much for attending the lesson. We'll see you on Wednesday. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming. Have a good evening.